Hey, what's going on, people? Can all hear Bulls on Wall Street. Happy 8 p.m. on Terrible Tuesday. Or is it Tootin' Tuesday? Whatever it is that you guys want to do, it's there, right? So we had another grind day in the markets. And so we've got a lot to talk about today. We're going to be going over the market indexes, see if there's anything interesting out there. And then, beyond that, let's dig in and see, if there's any worthy stocks to play. I found a few for you guys. And, even though the market's choppy, there are pockets of plays that are happening. And so let's kind of go into the strategy. Before we get started, I just want to point out that we are in a distribution market currently, meaning that, we are digesting in a longer consolidation zone, digesting some epic gains from November. And we are seeing some distribution up at the top. What distribution means, there's 4 market cycles: accumulation, distribution, run up, run down. The distribution cycle is inevitably a little bit of switch of control from buyers to sellers as the market digests or slowly rounds out near the top. It does not mean that you enter a bear market. You can have distribution cycles even inside a bull market for periods of time. But we are seeing that switch over of big money selling to retail money. You're seeing it via price action and volume, meaning that the telltale signs of distribution is when gaps roll, right? So you have gaps in stocks, right? Like MU, and it'll start off decent and you just roll over, right? Gap up on an upgrade, you roll over. ARM has some news out, right, with Google, you roll over. And so you're starting to see, right, that kind of like that switch into different names and different, tactics, where before, like if you had a gap up on a stock a month ago, right, people chase it and it keeps going, so on and so forth. An upgrade like MU had yesterday could be worth 5-10%. So we're getting this slow distribution as we just kind of even out the buyers and sellers and build out a little bit of a base in the market. It's perfectly healthy. It does not mean that, the big bull market of 2024 is over, but it does mean that we have to be careful for a period of time. It means that you want to be trading a little bit smaller, a little bit quicker, and making sure that the tactics change to range trading and distribution tactics versus momentum and trend-based tactics. When the market is above its EMAs, you're using trend trading techniques and momentum-based trading techniques, where when the market goes sideways like this, you're using a slightly different thing, which is more mean reversion, range-based trading tactics, unless you have a catalyst in a stock. So you can see here, after this big dump, you've got a few days of sideways, and the dips are getting bought in the market. And so that is something to say. We do get an inflation report tomorrow. You can see big wicks to the upside. So we did get a little bit of a push into the close, maybe in anticipation of the inflation numbers. Who knows what it is? But we have some certifiable ranges to trade around tomorrow. We have right here, right, 443 and some change on the QQQs. If we can get past, maybe we can kind of go into this suction zone. If we break below, I would say this low here, then, we have maybe a little bit more downside into the play. So we just have to kind of be mindful of these levels and remember that there's a time and place to risk a lot, make money, take more speculative positions and more aggressive risk sizing and risk parameters. This is not it right now while we're digesting. If we break out and hold and we see actually participation from other stocks, then we can go and get a little bit more tutti frutti. So market still looks good. We're just digesting, baby. That's not even a big deal. It's nice. You want to see that, right? So let's get into the watch list. There's some decent names out there. I think that we can still trade. There was a run in solar stocks today, some relative strength. These things have faked me out so many times, and this is the problem with trying to time bottoms and shit like this. It takes a few tries, but we did get an increase in volume a couple days ago, and now we're starting to kind of build out a little bit of a flag. I think that it's probably worth a gander if you can come in and do this, and we got room to the 200-day moving average. We'll see. These things have faked out before, but we got to be a little bit mindful. They have big bases, and they're really at near bottoms, and there's always a rotation, right, into the lowest of the low, right? The stocks that are sitting near lows at some point, people sell off the strong ones and buy the cheap ones. And there's certain market cycles where that happens. And no stocks stay down forever unless they're just going to zero. And, probably these are not. So we have SEDEG here. You've got 73.44, a break on it. It's pretty good range on this. It trades really thin. Run is a bigger turd, but it's got a lot more volume, right? Run's a bigger turd, but it's got just a lot more volume. And the rest of these are just kind of donezo. So you have ENPH. It's got a little bit more volume, but kind of a weirder location. But I would still call this a potential. Run's got the most, but it's the biggest turd. And then SEDEG is the thinnest, but it moves the best, like in terms of just that big range. And so you got to, you can add any of these. Airy, a little bit thin, but this has probably got a cleaner flag on it. So you got a thrust, pretty just low-level volume, congestion, digestion, and then, you're starting to go. So any of those would work. This Lucy and the Wolf, this is semiconductor stock that's just been basing out now for a little bit of time. Let's see if this thing gets picked up. I mean, it's got 5 million shares of volume, so it's definitely doable in terms of liquidity. It's up 7% today. It should have a chance. Let's see if we start to bust through this level in the coming days. Pass. I have this on watch for rubber band short. I did take a shot at this today, and it came down like 10 cents and reversed on me, and I just got out for minus a handful of pennies. That's the thing with rubber band shorts is you got to try them a few times. Gap up on this one, I think, would do it. I have like a 20. I think 20 is a good spot. That's the old high from a little bit ago. And that would kind of take us into, break that thing over 20. I think that's a good spot. mRNA, fuck these guys, right? But the setup is the setup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tests of resistance here. 9 million shares in volume. And what I like about mRNA, is that it tends to make opening drives really strong, right? So it's like, you had 106, you ran to 116. Like that's what we're talking about. You know what I mean? You'd increase. I want to see, like, at the open, I want to see some big range on these, right? I don't care if it uses up all the range and then everybody gets smoked out the rest of the day trying to catch the dip, because I ain't going to be at the computer. So I'd rather, I want this thing to use it up, grind everybody out the rest of the day. That's great, man. Let's go into this. ZS, this triggered today. Remounted 200-day moving average to 9 EMA. I think this one's got some upside now. Decent enough range today. Not like some big mamma jamma, right? But hey, man, we've got a little something here. Right? This thing was $260, came down to about 180, about 25-30% pullback. It's got a good look to it. Qualcomm, 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. Now, look, it's day 3, so I think what we need, ideally, it could break out tomorrow, but ideally, you would get 1 inside day, let the 9 EMA catch up, and then, right, then you can push it, and you've got a lot more juice in this thing. AMAT, very, very similar look as Qualcomm, but a little bit more tighter, right? Now, there's 2 things that I worry about this. Number 1, these semiconductors begin sold off on gaps, so no interest if it gaps up. Only if it kind of opens weak, grinds, and goes red to green, so that if it breaks out and fails, I'm still in the green, right? So that's a distribution trading tactic. And, you don't want to chase up a gap on this because they're fading off. Distribution market, right? Like look at NVIDIA today, right? Fucking little gap up, and then boom, the ruggie gets pulled. You got to be a little bit careful on this, right? That's what's just happening. People are just, maybe they're booking their taxes, paying their taxes or whatever. Like, hey, man, you got a giant monster cock tax bill. What are you going to do? Sell your NVIDIA, right? That could be happening too. That's been happening in the past, but, the reason doesn't really matter, right? All we need to know is currently there are more sellers than buyers, right? And so the market's kind of shaking down, but we're getting close. Man, one more flush on this thing. I thought maybe it would get there today, but we broke below the lower Bollinger Band, so we kind of rebounded. We got a 50-day test on this. It'd be really, really nice. I think SMCI is right there, and so this will be, something we watch for a little bit of a turnaround too. at some point here. If we can grind, look at this. This is $1,200, and you're just slowly kind of grinding down into this, you know. You got about 13 stochastics, but, you know, and you've been kind of drifting down since about 1100, so about 200 points, right on the 50-day moving average. You know, it may need to come down a little bit more, but somewhere in this zone, between the lower Bollinger Band and this support and the 50, somewhere in this pocket, right, we start looking for reversal signals. It doesn't mean you blindly buy, like you hit a moving average. It doesn't mean you blindly buy. You start looking for clues. You start looking for clues in the price action, price patterns on a shorter term time frame. You start looking for clues on the tape, and then you can start to, you know, build into something and see, right, what we have. And it very well could be tomorrow. Give me a gap down on this thing tomorrow, and, you know, we'll see what's up, you know. We'll see what's up. Disney still coiling here at the 20 SMA. It needs to just remount this 9 EMA. I think it's going to be a lot better. You got a level here, kind of 118.50, give or take, that I think should be enough. TTD breakout spot 2, I think is looking good. Now got, you know, hit resistance and kind of faded off, but it gapped up again. And, you know, that's not going to work on these tech stocks, right? If anything, right, these gap ups are getting faded off. We need, like, if you take anything, you need a better open on this. I want to add just Dell to the list if it gaps down and gets into the bone zone here. This will be a good spot to bounce this. There were some big sellers out there unloading this thing too. Big block sellers, million share blocks, stuff like that, that we're going through. So I think that might be, you know, that'll be cashed out in the next handful of days, and then we'll kind of see what's up. Beto, after a few up days, ready to get a rest day here. Let's see, we're coiling up here. Test. The Bitcoin halving should be really like any day now, and you know, maybe you get the run right in front of it. Historically, that's always kind of happened. Pot stock still fading these pops up. You know, TRY, nasty earnings out. I think, you know, took a little gander on CGC today. It was nothing sexy, but, you know, still good enough range. If this thing breaks under 9 EMA, I mean, you got all this room down here to fall. Guys, CGC's probably a 0. You know, it's definitely will run out of money soon. They're just going to keep, you know, doing reverse splits till probably for perpetuity, you know, till they get lucky one of these days. So simple list here. Guys, the key is remember the distribution market. You don't want to chase any gaps. Let things really settle. Get good bases and stuff like that. I think you'll be good. You know, Tesla has relative strength too, so you can keep an eye on that. You got probably room to its 50-day moving average, you know, and we'll see what's up. But Tesla, you know, has been a pain in my ass for it's a love-hate relationship. It's a love-hate relationship, but it is kind of maybe rounding off too because they missed those numbers a few days ago, and everybody kind of knew they're going to miss the numbers. So it'd be a sell the news event, and now you're kind of pushing back through this. So we'll see what's up, guys. Good luck. Sorry to, you know, talk a little bit over, but, you know, we got to do what we got to do, which is the do. I love you guys.